NBA Conference Semifinals in Milwaukee. Time to run it back, folks. For the second year in a row, the Bucks and the Celtics meeting in the postseason. Kyrie with the fadeaway. Boy, that thing brought rain. Good defense by Bledsoe, better offense by Kyrie with the left.
Oh, they're looking good right now.
Kyrie hits nothing but net. A 17-3 run for the Boston Celtics. Here's Mirotic making a little noise from deep. Draws the foul and one. That's Middleton with a little magic. Mirotic from deep. Yes, Water. And the Bucks on a 13-0 run. Mirotic with another deep three. Take it back to Middleton for three. Got it. And the Bucks take the lead. Irving with the left hand. And he puts a silencer on 5-serve 4. Irving, nice hesitation, and the floater is pure. Boston back up by 3. It's Kyrie. Back to Al Horford on that pick and pop, which continues to be extremely prolific. Giannis blocked by Horford. Oh, he sent it back. Point lead, Kyrie. Going all over. Drew is in the building tonight. And the Celtics up by 18 here in 5-serve 4. Brown with a mismatch over Bledsoe. Oh, boy, he has really polished up his offense. Nice cut by Brown and slams it in over Giannis. And Brown stepped back and bottom for Jaylen Brown. A convincing win here today for the Boston Celtics to go up 1-0. 4 players in double figures and outscore Milwaukee 60-40 in the second half.
This is the most exciting time of the year, and this is the time you really get to show why, you go through the ups and downs in the regular season. This is all worth it. So I want to take it one game at a time, come back here on Tuesday, I believe, and go back at it with them.
The Giannis rules were in effect in Game 1. Giannis Antetokounmpo's Bucks were outscored by 24 points when he was on the floor. Time to bounce back tonight on the home floor. The Celtics hit the Bucks with their most lopsided loss of the entire season in Game 1, dominating on both ends in a 22-point win, their 11th in the past 13 games going back to the regular season. Later on, referees will take the floor at Oracle. The Rockets and Warriors will be there too, but the refs are getting all the attention the last 48 hours after a disputed no call late in the Warriors' Game 1 win. Hey everybody, from the world headquarters of NBA TV, this is Game Time, ahead of a pair of playoff Game 2s, and if we need a play drawn up per chance tonight, we are in good stead with the czar, Mike Fratello, and Frank Vogel back on set with us. And Coach, we're going to take a brief time out because the czar specifically asked for his own time at the top of the show.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure that the book Giannis's Rules will sell as many as the Jordan Rule book.
Not quite as catchy, but...
No. But I wanted to take a second to just congratulate Griff, Dave Griffin, who
David Griffin
took the job in New Orleans, and we just will miss him tremendously. He did an outstanding job when he was here, and I wish him the best.
You didn't have his number? I mean, you could have texted
I have
him,
his
right?
number.
Okay.
He won't answer me, though. But having said that, another Jersey product. Okay, welcome Coach Vogel to the crew here.
Thank you, Coach. It's an honor to work beside a legend here, the czar.
This guy did a really good job coaching his teams.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's it? Are you done?
That's it. You said I had 10 seconds.
Anything else you'd like?
You said I had 10
Well, you asked
seconds.
for 10 seconds. I think you took 30 or 45, but that's okay.
That's right. I'm good.
Are we good? Can we move on?
And somebody else said they like your tie. I didn't say that, but somebody else said
That was
was
Coach
me.
Vogel.
I know.
He's got a nice tie.
That was Coach Vogel. It was very nice of him. It's working out well.
There you go.
We'll see if Czar makes it through the end of the night. We'll start in Milwaukee, where the Bucks will try to give the Celtics their first loss of the postseason. Boston is the last unbeaten left, leading all playoff teams in three-point shooting and defensive rating so far, and tied with the Raptors for fewest points allowed. Brad Stevens says today he's enjoying the fruits of veteran leadership.
Well, I don't think you can overstate that. Those guys have been there, done that for a long time. And even though Gordon hasn't played as many playoff games, he's still always been really good on the road. And Kyrie's obviously, been done at the highest level of the NBA over and over and over. But I think that again, you learn from some of the things you did last year from just what's coming, and being able to stay in the moment and making sure you're just focused on what's next.
Well, guys, it was easy to be skeptical of some of those defensive numbers from the first round against an Indiana team that isn't particularly explosive without Victor Oladipo. But Boston's D was clearly ready to move up in class in Game 1, especially when it came to walling off Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is the linchpin of one of the best offenses in the league.
Well, I know that we heard over and over again how many people they sent at Giannis, but it starts with one guy willing to take the challenge, and that was Al Horford, who really stepped up and did a yeoman's job on him in trying to keep him in front of him. All right? But they wound up in the end risking the three-point line, daring Giannis to kick it out to teammates. He took the challenge, Giannis, and tried to beat 2 and 3 people at a time, but unfortunately, Horford doing his outstanding job with the help they got from the other players really caused him a lot of problems.
And the Bucks, one of the most prolific three-point shooting teams in the league, were 13 of 39, which is not a terrible number, but it's maybe not good enough. And these two things go hand in hand, right? You got to have Giannis producing in the paint for those shooters to do their damage out on the perimeter.
They do it, and this is the approach with Mike Budenholzer. And I faced him in the playoffs a couple times when I was in Indiana, and they were always leading the league in three-point field goal attempts. Okay, but it's an outside-in approach with their offensive system. They shoot the three to give space to drivers. Okay, and back then for me it was Jeff Teague getting in the lane and creating havoc. But Giannis is an MVP candidate because of the three-point shooting support system they put around him. So, you definitely have to do what Boston did. They executed a defensive masterpiece in terms of showing him a crowd every time he ducked his head and tried to get into the lane, and they're up 1-0 as a result.
Meanwhile, offensively, Boston was really good. They haven't always been a great offensive team this season. Playoff Kyrie is apparently a thing now, and he had 26 boards, tied his postseason career high with 11 assists. In fact, it's just the 4th time in his playoff career he's had double-digit assists.
Yeah, well, their whole team played with a great pace and rhythm offensively. And, they played with a create for each other type of mindset with 25 assists, 11 turnovers. And, they really, while they were executing their defensive game plan, they controlled the game with good offense. Because if you get into bad offensive possessions against the Bucks, they start running, Giannis gets in the open court, the transition threes start raining, and then you're in trouble.
Well, you touched on Al Horford, who was so good on both ends of the floor. He doesn't get a lot of attention. He's a fairly quiet guy, but obviously a great team player. How valuable is he to this Boston team, no matter how far it ends up going?
That's hard to really put in terms of putting it on a scale because...
I bet his agent could.
Yeah, I bet he really could, particularly if his contract was about ready to be discussed. This guy opens up the floor for them because of his ability to knock down jump shots from the top of the circle, not afraid to go down the low post area where it's very physical. And then he takes the challenge of guarding. And what a great sequence that was. Not one block, but 2 blocks on the same play for Al Horford against Giannis. And he's a leader. They respect him because he just goes out there, as you said, not a real vocal, loud guy, but he gets the job done every night, and they respect him for that.
Boston also got 19 points out of Jaylen Brown, who hit 3 out of his 7 three-point attempts. And you guys know, over the course of the season, he was kind of caught in that log jam of wings they have in Boston. How many minutes is he going to get? What's his role going to be? But if they get this Jaylen Brown moving forward, the Celtics are going to be really tough to beat.
Right, but what makes Boston special? And now Horford stepping up. And two nights later, it may be Gordon Hayward and Marcus Morris. You just don't know who's gonna hit you. They've got talent at a number of different positions, and the versatility is what makes them great.
This is kind of why I've been sticking with Boston over the course of the season to come out of the East, even at times when they clearly didn't look like that sort of team. But Coach touched on it. Their depth makes them really dangerous. Yeah,
and Frank, tell me if you agree with this or not. Jaylen Brown looks like he has an improved offensive game right now in the playoffs. It's hard for me to pinpoint what I'm trying to say, but he's a different offensive player than he was earlier in the year.
No, there's no doubt. They weren't just weak side threes that he was getting in this or drives in transition. He had a couple step back threes. He had a great up and under move and a turnaround jump shot at the free throw line. He's growing. They're developing their young players at a great rate in Boston. Brad Stevens is doing a great job with their group, and he's definitely growing and looks better than ever right now.
Maybe at some point Gordon Hayward gets back to Western Conference All-Star Gordon Hayward, but in the meantime, it's a pretty good option coming off their bench.
What makes him so good is he understands how the offense is supposed to be run. They give him a weak side screen. He comes off that screen. He's got the defender on his back. That defender doesn't get back in front of him again. There's an example. Defender caught behind. Now he can make a decision. Attack that guy stepping up. Shoot the little floater in the lane, which he's so good at making. He runs the offense the way Brad Stevens expects it to be run and takes advantage of how the defense is trying to play them.
Boston is off to its first 5-0 postseason start since 1987, and you'll recall that team won the Eastern Conference and lost to the finals to the LA Lakers. They'd take that. Reaching the finals, that would be good. They would take that.
Give him a shot.
All right, more coming up here. Chances are you've learned a lot about landing zones over the past couple of days. When we come back, we'll learn how all the officiating chatter figures to influence Game 2 for the Rockets and Warriors later tonight.